So I'm joined by Vikram Gupta from Arthur D. Little. Vikram, nice to see you.
Nice
Now,
to see you too, Marc.
we're here talking about big data in telcos. What is your assessment of EU telcos and where they are with their big data strategies at the moment?
That's a very good question, Mark. I think big data is a key strategic lever that telcos have, especially in the EU, to reverse the decline that they have in their core revenues. Unfortunately, it's not as advanced as we'd like it to be. There are some operators who have gone down their path very well, but there are many, many others who are at the very beginning of their big data journeys. They are still trying to define the key questions that they want to be addressed. They are still kind of overwhelmed by the technological options, and I think there is a long way for those operators to go before they are able to actually harness the power of big data that they could potentially do.
Sure. So, what are some of maybe the use cases that you're seeing out there in the market which are really kind of working? We obviously talk about sort of internal ones, perhaps first of all.
Uh, Fine. As I just mentioned, Mark, there are some operators who have been able to, harness the power of big data, and they have done it in many beautiful ways. So I'll just give you a couple of examples, as you mentioned, use cases. There's an operator that is able to target the customers who are about to end their data package. So just before they are able to end their data package, this operator has developed a very, very advanced algorithm by which they tell the customer that your data package is about to end. How about extending your data package, getting another 500 MB, 1 GB, 2 GB, based on the kind of device they use, the services they use. And as they get them the right offer, they've been able to increase their take up by as much as 40%. So rather than initially their marketing campaigns were like 1 or 2% take up, now it is 40%. Another thing is, another operator now approaches its customer not in terms of technical jargon, so rather than calling it 4G, 5G, LTE, they use a typical, an end user jargon, so high speed internet, download speeds, a very, very simple jargon, which is, very alien to a typical telco firm. And with that, they have seen that a customer, if you speak back to the customer in their own language on Twitter and other advertising platforms, they have been able to take up the communication by as much as 30%, and the conversion rate has increased by another 20%. So these are just two use cases. I'll tell you one more. It's about call data patterns. So a company just looked at its high value customers and found out that if a customer's calls dropped by about 3 or 4 times, that customer's churn rate could increase by as a factor of 800%, so 8 times as much. Now, if they could put the right processes in place or the right network at that point of time to see, the customer's calls did not drop, they've been able to reduce the churn of all their high-value customers. So you see very, very interesting internal use cases only, as we mentioned, around this area, and there are many more.
So stuff is working, but yet overall telcos are still maybe not where they should be or where they could be with this. I know one of the things that you've talked about today is the internal structure not really enabling them to exploit big data. So what is the problem there, first of all, and what can they do to change that?
So the problem is very simple. I think, and all operators would agree with that, is that the data is currently in silos. You've got an IT platform, and you've got your customer-facing units, you've got a consumer unit, you've got a business unit, wholesale unit, whatever, and they're all speaking individually to the different, IT platforms, sending their own requests, getting the data in silo, sending their own requests, getting the data in silo, and that just does not give you the overall whole perspective that you need to be able to, attract and retain and wow the customer. I think now that is the world of wowing the customer. So one thing that they really need to do is that move away from this siloed organization, move towards an analytical organization that takes much larger data sets that we have been traditionally taking, be able to take not only your internal data, which currently people are comfortable with, but also start using external data sets, also start taking use of speaking with developing partnerships with other third-party people. Not everything can be done by an internal organization on its own. Seek partnerships, develop other relationships, and then you will be able to get to a much wider, much more holistic use cases and be able to wow your customer and retain them much more longer. I think that's a key thing for these guys to do.
Good stuff, Vikram. Thank you very much.
Very nice speaking with you, Mark. Thank you.